Hello, everybody. My name is Amber Quintus, and I am a Reiki Master Teacher. And I'm here today to do an introduction to Reiki. So, a lot of times that word in and of itself doesn't give a lot of answers. I have a lot of people that reach out for me to explain a little bit more in detail what Reiki is. And honestly, just reading about it may be a little bit difficult to understand. So I'm doing a little video today to hopefully demonstrate some of Reiki and what it looks like. So Reiki is energy healing, and a lot of times those words too don't mean a lot to people. So, in our bodies, we have what are considered energy lines, and we have 7 major chakras. The chakras are also colors, and during a Reiki session, I, as the Reiki master, the practitioner, I tune into those chakras or energy centers in your body to see how your energy is moving throughout your physical body, your mental body, your emotional, and your spiritual. During a session, typically we talk beforehand, and then throughout the session, if there's things that come up, we also talk during the session, and then we do a recap at the end with questions and things like that. So, for Reiki, I am a person who believes in setting up my space to be comfortable. I want the person coming in to feel warm, to feel welcome on an energetic level, that they feel good coming into the space, that they feel comfortable talking to me, because obviously we're going to go in and share some energy. And so, as a Reiki practitioner, I myself am not producing energy. I am a conduit of energy. And so there are people who practice, well, every practitioner practices a little bit differently. So I will say that, but each Reiki practitioner is just a conduit of energy. We allow energy to flow through us, and it is intuitive, meaning that although we're focusing maybe on one chakra, the energy also knows where it needs to go within the body. And so really it's up to the individual who I'm working with and how open they are to receiving that energy. And so during an initial session with somebody, oftentimes we'll do what's just a chakra balancing, where we just literally we go into the energy centers, which it's your crown, your third eye, your throat, then it comes down to your heart, your solar plexus, your sacral, and then your root, which sits at the bottom of your spine. And we will just go in and get familiar with those energy centers. I'll explain to the individual the colors of their chakra, what they mean. I'll also explain how that energy, what it ties into within the body. And yeah, that's a typical intro session. Then, the deeper I get to know a client, the deeper we'll go. And really, it's just based on the individual. So I have some people that I've seen for a chakra balancing session. Maybe we see each other, once a month. I have some people that are more intensive that I'll see on a more frequent basis, or we'll have communication. And so really, it's just up to the individual and what feels good to them. So, some of the things that can be used during a session, practitioners may or may not use crystals. I'm a person that uses crystals. I believe that they help facilitate energy within a space and for the people that I'm working with. However, that doesn't always have to be the case. So, yes, let's see here. One other thing that I do in particular, I'm a Yasui Reiki master, and so I work specifically with Master Yasui. So there are different types, there are different masters, and there are different lineages of Reiki. So mine is through that particular lineage and line. So before I begin a session, I will call in my guides, my angels, anybody that I want to work with. I am a person who focuses more on the mental, spiritual, and emotional. And I feel that through that work, the physical heals. There are some people that focus more on the physical, and then they believe that the other things will come out and that they can deal with that later. So again, it just depends on the practitioner. I also have my client call in their guides because I want them to feel like they can experience the best out of the session. And so a lot of times people are not very familiar with their guides. It's certainly okay to just allow whatever angels, guides, or spirits that are meant to be here during the session to be here with us. And also, loved ones that have crossed over are always welcome in the space, and I often invite those energies to come in. So all depending on what your comfort level is and what you believe. I meet people where they're at with their comfort level, and for some people who are very unfamiliar with this work, I just try to start with a very base knowledge to get them comfortable with their energy and to experience what that feels like and to really get in tune with their body and with their emotions. Okay. All right, so today I have my beautiful friend Nikki here, and she's going to be assisting me as I'm just going to go over her chakras, and I will be explaining kind of what I'm doing as I'm going along. Okay, and so as I start a session, I open up again, just setting the intention for the highest good of the person who's with me. I call in my guides, and then I say a silent prayer to myself. Sometimes I'll say it out loud if I'm very familiar with that person and I'm comfortable and they're comfortable with that. And then Reiki, you can do different hand positions. Again, depending on the comfort level of the individual. I'm a person who likes to do hands-on. However, not everybody is always comfortable with that. So I will lightly place my hands on the energy center that I'm working on. This helps me to get in tune with Nikki's energy. It helps me because when I start at the crown or at the top of the head, this is the chakra center where it opens up to what I call the Christ consciousness, and also opens up to my divine gifts, and everything can begin to flow for her and I. I have had sessions where people are not very open, and I'll have to start at their feet to just get them to open up and to be comfortable, and then I'll come back up to the crown. But typically I start up here, and again, we'll just be focusing in on allowing the divine to flow through me, to come through me in whatever way is in the highest good for Nikki and for our session. I'll be tuning into her body in this moment. I'll be doing an energy scan of her whole physical body. Beforehand, she will have likely told me about any areas of her body that would be giving her discomfort or pain so that we can focus in on those. So then we move into the third eye, which just sits in between our forehead, slightly above our eyes in the center. Our third eye is in touch with our intuitive abilities and gifts. And so the third eye is one of the chakras that do take longer to heal and to work through in a lot of people. Just as humans, we tend to shut down a lot of this energy. And so it takes a little bit more time, and that's okay. And at least in my experience and the people that I've worked with, because that's who's drawn to me. Because oftentimes the people that are drawn to me, well, each and every one of them has a divine purpose of why they're on my table. I do not believe in coincidence, and so therefore, each person, we link in. We have a soul tie of some kind. That's my belief. All right. So then we move down into the throat chakra, and this can be a sensitive area on the body. And so I'm very aware of my client. I'm aware of her energy. I'm aware of her comfort level. And if she is okay with me to place my hands on her neck, if not, I can place them slightly above. And a lot of practitioners won't actually place their hands on the individual. They'll do slightly above. And either way is fine. Again, this is all intuitive energy, and the energy knows where to go. So we come into the throat chakra, and then the throat chakra, we're working on clearing out messages, clearing out, speaking our truth. So then we come into the heart chakra, and again, this can be a sensitive area of the body, and so I'm always very sensitive of the individual, and if it's okay to place my hands on the heart center, we'll be getting in touch not only with the vibration of love within the individual, but hurts, pains, things that need to come up to the surface. I don't force anyone to feel anything during a session. I'm simply here as a conduit and a guide. And if somebody needs to release something, I honor that. Sometimes I will feel emotions come through me for the individual. And I may cry because I'm feeling that energy coming through, or I may laugh, or we may laugh together. Whatever energy is present, whatever emotion, we just honor that and we walk through it. Then we come down into the solar plexus. And so during this part, we're being very intentional to, at least when I do work on the organs, I do focus a lot more on the physical in this area of the body and in the gut and just in general. And because this has to do with our life force, this has to do with our power. And I will do some extra physical work in the solar plexus, in any area, again, that I'm called to during the session. So our solar plexus also has to do with a lot of our core wounding or things that we experienced as a child. And oftentimes I work with clients, we'll journey together, and we'll eventually be able to get to some of these core woundings, and we'll talk about them. So then we come down into the hips or the Sacral Center. And this center here has everything to do with our creative abilities. It has to do with our sexuality. It has to do with our sensuality. And, for women in particular that I work with, many have experienced traumas. So we spend a lot of time just pouring love into this particular energy center. I then come down to the root chakra, and a lot of times for me, I find that I'm in the knees. The knees correlate a lot to moving forward in life and just being firm and confident in who we are. And oftentimes we will get stuck in this energy and not feel like we can move forward. And so just a little tip too for anybody who doesn't know that we have both masculine and feminine energies that run through us. And so our left is the feminine and our right is the masculine. And oftentimes that will give us such insight if we're carrying pain in one side or the body or the other. Then we can begin to distinguish what that pain is from and get clear on it. And then I come down to the ankles. I like to give a lot of extra care just down here in particular for all that our legs and our feet do. And in Reiki, it's all about balancing. And so we're balancing out the chakras, we're balancing out the different sides of the body, and we're balancing out from above and below. And so when we come into the feet, just like I poured through into the crown, I'm also going to pour through in through the soles of her feet. And when I'm doing this, I'm really getting intentional with Mother Earth, and I'm getting intentional with pulling up all of that energy from our earthly self, from this journey, because we have to honor both the spirit and the physical. And so in doing so, we honor the divine in our path. So I bring in all of this, and once I'm done in The way that I do and perform Reiki is I like to come, I do an energy sweep over the entire body just to be sure. And when I close out a session, I like to come back into the solar plexus, and I like to come back into either the third eye or the crown, sometimes both. And I just really like to set the intention that if there's anything that I've missed during the session, that it be healed in this moment. I particularly work with the violet flame of transmutation, so I call in the violet flame. I call in Metatron, who I work with specifically to transmute anything that I've missed. Metatron also can be referred to in Christian terms, if it's more comfortable, as the Holy Spirit, whatever resonates more with you. And we just ask that all of those energies that might be stuck or lodged in the body that I or Nikki didn't see or realize, that they just be transmuted now. Then we set the intention that she continue to heal as she leaves the session, that she gets whatever she needs. And then I close out. I make sure to close off the energy. I usually do one of the Reiki symbols over the individual, depending on what they need that day. And then I'll close out with a prayer of intention. So, yeah, that is a brief overview just of what a Reiki session looks like and how it goes. After she gets off the table, then we usually close out again with just another discussion about what she's experienced, what things she's felt during the session. If there were, tears that came up, we deep dive a little bit into that, so that way she feels like she can really be held in the space and that she can process through it. So I just thank you all for watching. Please reach out to me, let me know how this was, and if you enjoyed this. Thank you.